Yeah. This your boy Patience Gibbons checking in with y'all, man. Welcome to my first blog of life journey with Patience Gibbons. You see I'm down here, Atlanta, Georgia. You feel me? I'm gonna start giving y'all details about my life, about my journey. Things that people go through, man, and things that people out there still going through. Tell you a little something about me. Former birth name, John Gibbons, John Willie Gibbons III. Had created another name when I was younger. When I was about like 15, I started calling myself Jetta Boy. A bunch of childhood trauma that created that name. A bunch of, Atlanta, Georgia in the back where, you know what I'm saying? A bunch of drama created that name, and I got that name tatted on me when I was like 15, 16. And the trauma came from, just going through a lot of stuff when I was young. Came up in a domestic household, a single mama that had a lot of childhood trauma herself, a lot of drama herself. So she went through something and some personal things in her life, and went through some personal things with the person she laid up with and had sex with and conceived me. So the things that they went through, it made her lash out towards me. It made her do her attitude towards me. It made her be nasty towards me about a lot of things. So, those things really made it a toxic lifestyle for me, And with this life journey and this life message, it's just, I hope I can touch somebody and reach somebody, let them know that it's cool to go through stuff, but you got to be able to stand through it. It's a nice scene right here, Atlanta, Georgia, down here with the high rise. Nice scene, nice background. But, I went through a lot of stuff. So we're going to speed the story up a little bit, These things that I went through formed me to be the man today. So my childhood, I ain't had the best childhood, but it was all right. I tried to finish school, but, like I say, with a single mother, I went through a lot of drama, a lot of nights of feeding myself and feeding my little sister, a lot of nights of being home solo while she out working 2 jobs. Had a lot of times when she just went and buy me stuff, and when I was like 13 and younger, I was a little scary cat, but I was one of them type of childs that if you make me fight, I'll fight, but I ain't like to fight. I'm still kind of like that to this day a little bit, but I was all the way like that when I was younger. Like, I didn't fight. I wasn't violent. People tried to make me seem violent, but I wasn't violent. I wasn't an outcast. I didn't keep up drama. I was a laid back kid that liked the sports, In my younger days, I was a daddy's boy, what they call them. Until it took me years down the line to find out that I was chasing behind nothing. So, excuse me. This real footage. I'm start bringing y'all blogs of my life every day. Chilling here with Mr. Statue Man. But yeah, it was rough. So doing through that time when I was young, a little scared cat, you know, I had big cousins that made me fight, you know. Yeah, I had big cousins that made me fight, made me do stuff that I didn't want to do. You know what I'm saying? You know, I used to have to fight with my other cousins. Yeah. Until I got to a point. Until I got to a point that I wasn't really scared no more. So I broke that. I broke that scaredness when I was like, let me see, I was like about 14 when I broke that. I got my first pistol. It was a .32 revolver when I was like 14. Then when I was like 15, 16, I had got me a 25. And then by that time, by 15, I had started selling weed. I learned how to sell weed and crack. And I hit my first robbery. So I did my first robbery and got in my first shootout around 14, 15 when this stuff started transpiring. You know, I had an auntie, she was heavy in the streets selling drugs. So I used to go around her house checking things out. Then I didn't grow up in this neighborhood, but it's a little neighborhood in Fort Myers, Florida called Brick Hill. It was a lot of young boys out there, you know what I'm saying? I had family out there on both sides of the family, so I used to go out there and chill with the other boys out there. But I was never from the neighborhood called Brick Hill. I grew up on Jackson Street, over there off of Fowler. I also grew up off of Ortez. 2 different spots on Ortez, but my main spot was Hunter Greens on Ortez. I grew up on Hunter's Green, you know, and I just like, when I was on Hunter's Green, I grew up with my grandma. My grandma was like my mama, you know what I'm saying? Cause we always stayed with my grandma. Sometimes we go off, we venture off and get a little place for a little bit, and then things don't work out with my mama. Whatever she had planned on, it didn't work out. And we end up back at Grand House. You know what I'm saying? And that went on for a long time. You know, stuff happened and stuff don't go right. And end up back at Grandma's house. You know? And due through these situations, I was always the outcast. You know? My mama always treated me some type of way, you know, and with her treating me some type of way all the time, it's like, it forced me to make decisions to figure out what I want to do in life. So, with them decisions, with them decisions, I started looking towards the streets, started hanging around my older cousins, and started being observing. And I started hanging at this little store over there by Brook Hill. This little store over there by Brook Hill. It's in Fort Myers, Florida, called Brook Hill. And they got a little store called Big B's off of Michigan. You know, I started hanging out there at that store. And then, the little neighborhood, Brook Hill, they had little streets. People stand on the street corner. So I started being observant. I started watching what was going on. And, I started participating. Back then they used to have like this dread. They used to have this little dread that when you paid your cell phone, you know what I'm saying? You paid your cell phone and he'll call you back and you tell him how much weed you want, where you at, he bring it to you. You know what I'm saying? So when I learned about that, I got the little phone number, called them. I won't never forget though, I had got my first package. I had got me a half of weed and an 8-ball of cocaine. And back then, $5 sacks of weed was the thing, boy. $5 sacks of weed, little $10 sacks of cocaine, selling the thing at the streets. They had a little deal called combo, where you get 2 for the 15. You get 2 sacks for the 15 and a bag of weed for $20. For $20, you know what I'm saying? So that was the combo deal. And the cars pull up, they say combo. So around 14, 15, 16, that's when a lot of things went changing in my life. I could be honest with y'all, when I was like, what really got me out of the shell, when I caught myself started trying to be a hustler, started trying to sell drugs, somebody robbed me. He ain't really physically robbed me, but he mentally robbed me. But opened the doors, and how I became the person Jetta Boy that I walked away from 3 years ago. And with that, the dude, I was selling crack. I had graduated from selling weed and cocaine and started selling crack. And then I met this one dude. He was spending a couple dollars with me. So he had spent like $200-$300 with me back then. $200-$300, that was some grip. You know what I'm saying? 15, 16, you got $200-$300, $400 in your pocket. You got crack, cocaine, weed. You was doing the big. So he had spent like a couple $100 with me, and he came back around and I gave him $100 worth of crack, and he got missing on me. And when I found him, he was the reason that turned me into that person, because I took all my frustration out on that person. And then after that, I never let nobody disrespect me again, or cross me again, or take nothing, or try to take nothing from me, or none of that. I became silent, violent. I became what they call a secret assassin. So, with all that going on, I just got off the chain. Then, in school, I started being a little clique. Had a little clique with one of my cousins and one of my homeboys I grew up with. We had in school, we started doing a little jacking stuff, and fucked around, and we did a little jacking, and got somebody told on her. Somebody went to school with us, growed up with us. He told on her. You know what I'm saying? When he told on us, people snatched us up, and they snatched us up, and they got them. When they snatched us up, they ended up taking me to jail. Out of all three of us, they ended up taking me to jail because I was the only one that had facial hair. I had a lot of facial hair on my face and stuff like that, so they thought I was grown. But they thought I was 18. I wasn't 18. So, but all this started transpiring because when I was playing sports, I used to run track, play football. I started boxing. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't get to have no full career boxing. So the only career I had was running track and playing football. But due to those little sports events, my support system was real low. You know, my dad never came to none of my sports. He never came. He never seen me play sports. He never came. Now when my track meets, football games, never came to my practice. Never took me to practice. Never took me to track practice. Never supported me at all in sports. And but I can say that my mama, she showed up every blue moon. She dropped me off every blue moon. You know, but majority of the time, I roll with kids that I played with. You know? I could say I give my mama a pass because she the one that signed me up. And then that pretty much ended because, you know, she was living her life. So I started living my life. And then, you know, with me living my life, I started seeing all type of stuff, doing all type of stuff, started breaking in houses, stopped breaking in houses, came up, started selling drugs, started robbing people, stopped robbing people. Then I upgraded my robbery to stores. And then, you know, then after that, once I really learned how to really hustle and make money, I stopped robbing, I stopped doing all that type of stuff, and I just started getting money and working. I just started getting money, hustling, and working, you know what I'm saying? Keeping me two little jobs, selling drugs, you know what I'm saying? When the little pimping females first came out, you know, people was on the little social media with females going there, they be prostituting. I learned how to do that, start pimping females, you know. But all this was a part of survival. It wasn't nothing that was planned. It was all go with the flow. So it was all survival mode, you know. And doing all that, it was a lot of pain, man. A lot of pain, a lot of teary nights. You know what I'm saying? A lot of long nights. You know what I'm saying? A lot of ups and downs. Going to jail. I've been going to jail since I've been 18 years old. For all not a lot of drug charges. Excuse me, not a lot of drug charges, stuff like that, but you know, just a couple drug charges, gun charges, you know what I'm saying? Call it a little kidnapping, carjacking, home invasion case. Occupied the Welling, deadly missile. You know what I'm saying? Just a couple little random little things. Battering officer, you know what I'm saying? Just a couple little things that always end up transpiring because I had the generation of curse on me at that time. So it's like, man, but all this transpired behind a broken home. So it's like my whole life struggle and life story and life journey is about coming from a broken home, being stuck into a generational curse. You know what I'm saying? Stuck in bondage with a generational curse and trying to find my way from up out of that generational curse by all means necessary. And you know, we all been born into generational curses and been stuck in generational curses. And I'm hoping that this life day-to-day journey that I'm gonna be starting to expose with y'all and upload my vlogs, I hope it open people's eyes that men and women need to start coming together, man. You laying down making these kids, man. You need to start raising these kids and coming together, man. Man, start making these kids and then turn around beefing with each other. You know? Let's see. It just, and women, man, women, it go both ways, but women starts it first. Women need to gain more respect from men nowadays when a young man is doing his best to carry himself like a man, you know, because being a man and learning how to be a man and teaching yourself how to be a man when you never had a man in your life or came from a broken home is very difficult. People not gonna understand you, and it's very difficult. So, and it's the same thing for the women. With the women, it's like you weren't raised with no father in the house. You weren't raised by no man, so you don't got no structure. And it's like, without no structure, you got no type of manners, no type of respect for yourself or for others. So you just out here just doing all type of stuff. So it's like, man, the things I experienced, man, was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, my first shootout when I was 15, man, was crazy, man. You know, never knew I was gonna go through no shit like that in my life. Just out here chilling in the neighborhood, vibing. Next thing you know, people just pull up and just go ba 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 ba, trying to kill anybody. It wasn't even just a chosen group. They were just trying to just kill anybody, just trying to shoot anybody, bro. And it was just insane. It was just crazy. You know, then going to jail at the age of 15 for strong arm robbery. That was one of my first charges. Besides, no, that wasn't my first charge. My first charge was when I was 14. My mama put me in jail. So that's another message, y'all. Women, single mothers, y'all need to seek therapy and go to groups where there are strong women that can help y'all through y'all situations. Because single women that never had no structure, y'all be, how I can say this, y'all be putting your kids through unnecessary mentally and physically situations to where you don't know how bad you are damaging that child. So then when that child get older, around 15, 16, 17, 14, you don't understand that child moves, mind, You don't understand things about that child because it's like you done damaged that child so bad because you was damaged and you don't understand how bad you damaged that child. And then we fall victim to the streets because I was that child. I am that child. You fall victim to the streets. You fall victim to trying to find love. You just fall victim to a lot of things, man. And it don't be cool, man. It don't be cool at all because after a while, y'all people, parents, after a while, parents, and y'all end up getting past y'all trauma. And then you leave the kid fucked up with all type of trauma. And then you push them out there on the streets. And they got to figure out how to survive. They got to figure out where they get their next meal from. They got to figure out so much stuff. Then on top of that, they got to figure out life. So, and the first thing we run to as kids going through that situation is drugs. That's the first thing we run to. Drugs, hang around drugs, hang around thug life, you know what I'm saying? Doing unnecessary things, stuff we ain't got no business doing. And it's just like, man, the list go on and on and on. So I'm coming to y'all, man, on this channel to reach out, man, and let y'all know that I am that child with the life journey, pain, frustration, mental situation, physical situation, too well. I'm glad to still be standing here today. So I'm gonna feed y'all these blogs, my life journey. So when my time is up, somebody can sit back and watch these things. So I want y'all to understand that I'm gonna be talking about certain topics. I know I just named quite a few topics tonight, but I'm gonna start talking about one topic at a time. It's gonna be 3 episodes for each topic. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give y'all my life struggles, stories that go with that topic. You know what I'm saying? And the truth about life struggles and pain, man. Frustrations. And focus on lifting y'all up, man, and lifting y'all kings and queens up for y'all to understand, man, that whatever you going through in life, whatever you've been through in life, bro, you can pull through it, man. Just hold on and keep fighting, man. But this your boy Patience, man. Patience Gibbons, man. Just hearing y'all off with a little something for the night. Letting y'all know that this was coming to my channel. This what I'm going to be bringing to my channel. Life struggle events, man. Life pain, you know what I'm saying? Life stories. That's what it is. We out here, man. Real life struggle shit, man. We out here, man. I'm out here. Our first night. This is my first actual night, homeless night in Atlanta, Georgia. This is my first homeless night in Atlanta, Georgia. I was staying with my mama. Some stuff transpired. She flipped out. She had bought me some clothes and stuff when I got out of jail, and she took it all back. She took her kids to her house, kids to her car, and just, typical life. But y'all want to know stuff, y'all just interact with me. I'm going to interact with y'all. Just ask questions. I'm going to answer them. And that's what it is, man. Welcome to Patience Givens. Welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy. Hope y'all enjoy, man.